Hey, what's shaking, AfterBuzzers? Tonight we're talking Season 4, Episode 7, Rather the Fallen Angel of Supergirl. Supergirl and Martian Manhunter see Manchester for who he is. Try saying that 3 times fast. Agent Liberty coerces James Olsen to destroy Shelley Island, and Lena plays mad scientist. We'll be right back in just a sec.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Intro and everything, I like it. That's for you, Manchester.
For Manchester Black, I'll give that to Black Maggie 99 too. Maggie Q 99.
I think it's Black Magic.
Black Magic? Oh, I know something like that. We'll give that up to you, my friend. How are you tonight? All right. My name is Jorge Payo. That was Back in Black by AC/DC. Over to my left is...
Who, me?
Yeah,
oh, wait,
you.
yes, because there's no one else here. It's just us two. Hey, guys, my name is Heather Wake.
Yeah, we got a couple of players out tonight due to illness. Feel better, Zach, and feel better, Tehran. We'll see you guys soon. But right now, we're going to be covering last week's episode, Episode 7, Rather the Fallen Angel, as well as Episode 8. We'll be covering that a little bit later tonight. But first of all, overall thoughts, Heather.
Yeah, overall thoughts. I was really gearing up for the Bunker Hill episode. So I was wondering what they were going to do with everything involved in this episode. I like that it was a Lena heavy episode because she's again one of my favorite characters, and the tragic ending at the end I thought was really interesting. That was one thing that stuck with me the most.
Yeah, no, I really dug this episode. I like them delving a little bit further into Manchester Black actually having this episode and really kicking some butt. The whole thing between Lena and her Adam, what is it, 0331?
Yes,
right?
great
AKA
Smallville reference.
Great Smallville reference there. And finding out a little bit about Lena and her past, her tragic past, right? And then James Olsen's storyline getting a little bit beefed up there.
Yeah, I mean, just when I think that James Olsen's storyline is like, okay, we're done with this. We can let him be the side character again. Something else kind of beefs it up, like you said.
Hey, anytime that they put on the gauntlet, give him the gauntlet, and he puts on the helmet and he flips and kicks some butt, I'm happy with James Olsen. I'm a Guardian fan.
Although I have not completely forgiven him, and I guess neither has Lena, because we've not seen that makeup scene quite yet.
Well, why don't we jump right on into it, shall we? All right, so Supergirl, Martian Manhunter, Manchester Black. Pretty interesting little trio there. We start off the episode with Manchester Black seemingly like he's going to help out Supergirl. She's seeing him shortly for what he is because he wants to, bash somebody with some brass knuckles. How did you feel about the whole Manchester Black turning on Supergirl later on in the episode?
Yeah, it totally threw me off. I mean, I knew there was some sort of setup with... I was so much paying attention to the James Olsen setup that I wasn't really thinking about Supergirl, even though we all knew from the previous teaser that something was going to happen to her. I think it's interesting that he doesn't have the telekinetic powers, but he doesn't really need them because he is such a manipulator.
How about that little shield that he threw on his
the empathy
no,
amplifier.
before the empathy amplifier, he had like a bulletproof vest kind of thing that he just threw on. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like he needs the telekinetic powers or the telepath powers because he's a hell of a fighter. He's a hooligan, as he is.
And there is that running theory that he's going to be the next subject. And I can just imagine if he were given any sort of powers.
Oh my God!
What sort of hell would reign?
Oh, if it's anything like what it was with Superman and the Elite, it would be deadly. Absolutely. And then going back to what you were talking about with the empathy amplifier, how'd you feel about John's breakdown at the end there?
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah, I mean, this is I mean, it's so interesting to see John and Martian Manhunter go on this kind of more passive, more spiritual journey, but I mean, it adds an interesting facet to him.
Oh, well, I also just love the actor.
Yeah, I
David
mean,
Hayward.
it was a great, authentic, genuine breakdown that he had, which, I mean, we come to expect that from Schuyler Lee and Melissa, the leading ladies on the show. So to have that from him, who was like the stable male figure, was interesting.
Yeah, it was nice to see a moment of vulnerability, of actual emotional vulnerability for Jean in that moment. And the actor David Hayward was just brilliant at it as well. Also, let's see, what else we got going on here? Well, Supergirl saw Manchester for what he was in the first place. And this was one of those times now that John is coming up to Supergirl and saying he's sorry for like doing what Supergirl always does, which is see the best in someone.
It must be the Fiona factor, I think, that was blindsiding John. I mean, that's their main connectors. That, I mean, obviously, Manchester dealt with the greater loss since Fiona was his love, but I think that's, I mean, and John having lost I think they're both, I don't know, I think he sees a little bit of something of himself in Manchester.
Oh, I can tell, absolutely.
In that kind of way, that's why he's blindsided.
John did just lose his father last season, so he has been dealing with loss. He's been dealing with this transition of going from being the warrior to being the peaceful warrior now, right? And he's on this path, and he sees some good in Manchester and wants to bring him along. Absolutely. Did you think that Manchester was going to then at the end blow up the power dampeners in order to help Supergirl get free? Did you think that was going to happen?
I guess sort of, yeah, because they have to go a little bit further with him, and he's still more of an anti-hero than he is complete villain, right?
Yeah.
And he has nothing completely against Supergirl. She's just a major obstacle in his way, and he would like for her to be an ally.
I think he would like them all to be an ally.
Exactly, but there's just that one little gear that's not turning right with them in his eyes.
Yeah.
You know, he's the only one with the clear vision.
Do you think that's the clear vision that Lena's looking for?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Because there's a lot of theories about him being the next project.
I know, and I wonder if now that we've seen a further episode, knowing what we know, if that theory is still going. He could be. It could be his form of community service, I suppose. But
I just want to see him get the telepath powers and making
something,
people's eyeballs bleed.
Oh man, yeah. Because it would be a fun dark route for Supergirl to go on.
It would be. It would be indeed. Agent Liberty. Okay, let's get on to Agent Liberty and James Olsen. We were talking about them a little bit and how Agent Liberty was coercing James. Did you see... You see, I was thrown for a loop because I thought... And we watched this episode together. I totally thought that Tom was playing James.
You did. You were
totally
so sad when he wasn't.
I was so sad when I... Oh my God. Did anybody else see that? I want to know if any of the rest of you saw that in episode 7. There was a point where James was explaining to Tom who he was and about his reputation, and he just saw like this glint in Tom's eye that was like, man, this is a setup.
See, you saw glint. I just saw like, next scene. I didn't see any of this underbelly of agenda.
I thought the actor in the episode was trying to play some sort of under agenda. I could have sworn.
I think that dude was like, wait, did I have a line? I don't know. Is the camera still on me? But it would have been interesting if that two were set up. But you know, Jimmy had to have his like buddy moment, I think.
Do you think that James was on the right path by trying to save Tom rather than save his reputation? Do you think he was right in that?
I tend to think Jimmy always makes the wrong decision, even if it's the good intention. But I mean, objectively, hard. Now it feels hard for me to say since it led to the wanted outcome, I suppose. I mean, if it had been me, I don't know. I don't know if I could have said that I would sacrifice a person for a reputation, especially when my reputation does serve for the greater good.
That's the question that I'm posing. Yes, if your reputation serves for the greater good, if you are the head of this news conglomerate, and you were supposed to be seen as this impartial and yet fair person, how can you choose a side?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think it's a contradiction for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know it's not a contradiction, though?
What?
Some of our YouTube channels.
That's right.
You want to tell our AfterBuzzer friends about
Oh, absolutely.
what we got going on there?
Hey, AfterBuzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be, because they're optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out all of our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments, and we'll thank you on the air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV Talk.
That was very heroic, Heather. Heroic Heather, heroic Heather. So yes, Agent Liberty, James Olsen, Tom, Shelley Island. Shelley Island.
Yes, we have to. That was a great note you made.
What's that?
About the Frankenstein reference.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's interesting because the Shelley Island. Let me ask you this before I get into the Frankenstein reference. Who do you think was the fallen angel?
Oh right.
Because the name of the episode is rather the fallen angel. So who do you think was the fallen angel of the episode?
You know, when I first saw it, I pictured Supergirl, since she was sort of in that splayed when she was taken by the chains in the beginning. But I also wonder if it's Adam, if he's the fallen angel.
Well, it's interesting that you say Adam. Because
he's also kind of like the Frankenstein monster.
Because he is like the Frankenstein monster. And that quote, rather the fallen angel, is from the monster in Mary Shelley's book, Frankenstein.
Interesting. It all takes place on Shelley Island. How interesting. Yeah.
The quote is, I ought to be thy Adam, but I am rather the fallen angel, whom thou drivest from joy for no misdeed.
So that's why his name was Adam, because I know there was that rumor also going around that he's not quite dead. He might end up being Black Adam.
Right, which I don't say.
That's a stretch.
That's a stretch, yeah.
But it would be interesting if he was not quite dead, though. In the next whatever episode he might come back in, if he comes back at all.
Well, I don't know. Lena seemed pretty certain that he was extinguished.
Yeah.
What it was,
oh,
right?
Yeah. They probably did away with the body and all that, like they did with the hearts.
Right.
Just extinguished.
And she was sending the.
Black Magic says Fallen Angels Manchester.
Oh, interesting.
Black Magic. That's
interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, some might also say James Olsen was going to be the fallen angel,
but was true.
Not. Mm-hmm. He got a chance to redeem himself by the end of it. I don't know. I'm still think that it was Adam.
Fallen. You think Adam, fallen angel,
or perhaps Lena.
I kind of thought Lena too. But when I think fallen angel, I think of good potential misused, sort of. Lucifer potential for great good, and then he was a fallen angel. So I mean, I think Manchester. Now that I'm remembering what we're talking about, I think maybe that's.
I mean, that makes sense.
Be swayed the other way.
In that sense, but I'm also thinking maybe it was Lena, in the point that because her motives right now are questionable. Her morals are this human trial. You don't find that to be a bit questionable?
No, I don't. I mean, I think it's going to sort of toe the line throughout Lena's arc, and I don't know where it's going to go. I mean, I've said from the get-go that I'm like, I think Lena's always going to go
to the dark
side eventually, but I don't think at this point it's really. I think it's purely good intentions, and she has somewhat of a self-worth issue.
But I feel like if she's going to fall into the dark side, then she needs something pretty tragic to happen. And the way that that she's being led down the path to the dark side right now, because she's pulled off some pretty heroic stunts already.
Yeah.
She's proven herself to be heroic in a way. She's like the opposite of a Lex Luthor in that way.
Yeah, she's not a mad scientist. She's a sad scientist.
She's a sad scientist. Yeah. She just wants to help everybody.
Yes.
Yes, she wants to cure everything that makes men weak.
Exactly.
Right. But there's so much that makes men weak.
That's the thing.
I mean, like, how do you quantify that?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now she's defining it as human ailments, disease, physical weakness.
But her stance on it.
Well, exactly, and she's very much aware of the hero complex, and also a lack of empathy too. So that. Well,
that was her whole test with the spider in the bathtub, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what exactly was the test?
So
again?
It was you see a spider in a bathtub, you do nothing, let the spider go on its merry way. You try to help the spider out, or you kill the spider. And
he was the only one, and Adam was the only one that answered the same way that she was, which was do nothing.
Do nothing, yeah.
But in a sense, by holding these experiments, by trying to cure all the things that make men, everything that makes men weak, she's not doing nothing.
It is a contradiction.
That's a contradiction.
Yeah.
She's actually pushing the envelope in the other direction now in order to get. So what is?
All I'm saying is I would sign up.
Well, absolutely, but who gets to decide then who gets the superpowers after that?
I mean, I guess that's the. I mean, yeah, you'd probably have to go through in her mind an extensive testing phase, or maybe. I think she has such an idyllic sense that over time, because she's leveling the playing field, because without fear of being weak, will humans act better? I think is a question we often ask ourselves, and I think Lena wants to have that as an experiment as well. I think in her mind, if I can get rid of some of these factors that cause people to be weak, that cause people to do evil, then I will therefore lessen evil, and there will be less people that will even make bad decisions.
Or are you giving people more power than they actually deserve? Because remember that old quote, absolute power corrupts absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So if you're giving these people this power, like even Adam was one of the first ones to say, I'm not the right guy for you to give this power to. My brother, he had a pretty tragic past himself with his brother in the kidney operation, right? And thinking that he wouldn't have given his brother the kidney if the shoe was on the other foot. So what makes him be the kid that deserves the power right now?
Right.
And how do we know? Look, how many sci-fi shows have you and I both watched where the person all of a sudden gets superpowers and they go a little,
never. That's not a trope at all. I have no idea what you're talking about.
You've never seen that before in a
not once
in a sci-fi? I think I've seen it maybe a time or two or three. And who's to say that Adam wouldn't have been that guy?
Yeah, I know. Jacob Albert says, I would have moved the spider because I'm too annoyed to leave it and not bothered enough to kill it. Yeah. Well, and you would have been the next subject. I hope you live through it.
Well, then he might have been the hero.
No, that's the same. I would have moved the spider. You're right. He would have been the hero. You would have been rejected. No superpowers for you.
No superpowers for you, sir.
I know it's difficult. It's a difficult decision. And I mean, I think she is, like everybody else is thinking, going down a slippery slope. But it is also hard because I think Lena has a good head on her shoulders. And I just wanted to win.
I think she's all for the best of intentions. But I like Lena
because
as...
you should. I mean, if you have those sort of ambitions and capabilities, I think you should strive to bring mankind higher. And I think, we do have some transcendence to make. There are lots of things that I think centuries ago would have seemed like playing God.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't... It's a sticky wicket.
Absolutely. I think, I think, centuries ago, people would look at a heart transplant and probably think of it as like,
or stem cell research.
Yeah.
People think that's playing God as well.
Right. Well, that's our episode for episode 7.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, guys. Well, we're going to pick this up on episode 8 in just about 5 minutes, so stay tuned. And we'll see you soon. Once again, my name is Jorge Payo. You can find me on all of my social media at the El Jorge. That's TheElJorge. Heather?
And guys, you can find me on Instagram at heather.wake, but on Twitter I changed it up a bit. That would be at Heather_Wake. Plus, you can catch me on Tuesday nights where we talk about The Gifted.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.